Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. In the field of self-development, our guides have shared about us that we have forgotten how to be happiness. That's why we need self-development to remember we are happiness. A more strong word, a more common word than forget is ignore. We are described as being ignorant because we're ignoring that we are happiness. Yes, we've all been exposed to this. Thinking about ignorance. We tend to take ignorance for granted too, and just say and feel, I am ignorant. But if we think about this more, specifically, the cause for ignorance, what would it be? We cannot assign that ignorance has come from Brahma or infinity. They have the opposite nature. From sugar, you can't create that which is salty. So ignorance did not come from infinity. What about from the ego or jiva? Ignorance did not come from this either. The ego, the jiva, this sense of individuality is an expression of ignorance. It's the effect of ignorance. It can't be the cause for ignorance. I hope you're understanding what I'm sharing. That you are not ignorant, because there's no such thing as ignorance. And I'll share this in a more succinct way. Anything you know, you cannot be. I know the clouds, I am not the clouds. I know the time, I am not the time. I know ignorance. And so, I am not ignorant. Fundamentally, I have not forgotten how to be happiness. I've shared in many ways that freedom is knowing na bandha. Knowing one is not bound is freedom. And sharing this in one more way. I'm leaving these more sublime thoughts because 2 weeks from today, we will not have chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. We will not have Meaningful Morning. The ego, the jiva, is described as being the reflection of awareness, consciousness, light. When one assesses a surface that reflects, it's still of the nature of darkness, correct? If I shine a light at a mirror and that mirror reflects that light onto the wall, that doesn't make the nature of that mirror light. It's still of the nature of darkness. And so the fact that you are aware of me, is proof that there is awareness, that you are awareness. What do we do in Meaningful Morning? We go way beyond meaning. We explore infinity. I'm often exposed to religions and teachers who are insistent, who are adamant that their religion is the one way, that their teaching is the one way. Now here, in our religion, in our community, we are also exploring oneness, but there is an understanding that fundamentally we are one, but functionally we are not. So to insist and be adamant that there's one way in terms of religion or one way in terms of a teaching, those are fighting words. Puja Swami Tejo Mayananda has shared. We should treat each other like we are the same self, which we are, but not insist or be adamant that everyone should be like ourselves. Right? Puja Swami Chinmayananda and Puja Swami Tejo Mayananda at the self level are the same, but in terms of their personalities and styles, they're so different. I'm sharing this with everyone because in Sanatana Dharma, as many personalities as there are, so many paths are there too. We have different personalities, and so we need different paths to evolve our personalities. Puja Swami Chinmayananda has shared that self-development is different amongst religions and teachers and seekers, but self-discovery is the same. Your enlightenment and my enlightenment are not yours and mine. This is enlightenment. Shri Krishna has shared in verse 24. Atmana Atmanam, how the ego, that is the lower self, can be immersed in the spirit, which is the higher self. This can be done in different ways. Shri Krishna shares this can be done through karma yoga. Karma yoga is where one needs, their personality needs purity. Another path for another personality is jnana yoga. This is where one needs clarity. I feel we, and really people, acknowledge the need for purity, but don't acknowledge the need for clarity. We are deficient in this sense, especially when it comes to contemplation. Your contemplation will be facilitated by your content. If you know very little, your contemplation will be very little. If you know a lot, your contemplation will be a lot. And that's why when you Google contemplation and there's a religion, there's a teacher who's facilitating this without content, that's not contemplation. That's just a lower, higher form of relaxation. And finally, how does one immerse the ego into the spirit? Through dhyana yoga. which is for those who need identity. That their identity is not one of an individual, but rather infinity. I'm reading one insight from Pujya Swami Chinmayananda before we continue. This deep study and reflection, vichara, since it provides the seeker with a better understanding of the text, and therefore a deeper conviction of the goal, will discover for them a very healthy and steady self-application and a divine equipoise in their meditation. The more you engage in manana or reflection, then naturally you will engage in more contemplation or nididhyasana. If you don't listen and reflect, if you don't infuse yourself with shravana and manana, then you will not be able to contemplate. We continue to verse 26, verse 25. Anye tvevam ajanantaha shrutva nebhyah upasate tepi chatitarantyeva mrityum shruti parayanaha. Joy. Shri Krishna brings in one more group of personalities. Shri Krishna is most inclusive, never leaves any seeker behind. Anye means others. Tu, indeed. There are some to whom karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, these are not relatable. Ajanantaha, they don't know. They have no relationship with these paths. Shared in a different way, there are some who don't know the culture of listening, reflecting, and contemplating. There's some who don't know the culture of living in an ashram and so on. So does that mean they have no path then? Shrutva anyebhyaha upasate, their path becomes the one that they hear from someone who's following the path. If I have no culture of listening, reflecting, contemplating, if I have no culture about the trust triangle, divinity, map, guide, ashram, but if I listen to one who is cultured in these matters, that becomes my path. There is so much of an implication to this. Some, the importance of a guide, the one who knows this culture. The importance of satsanga. You may not know, but if you're around those who do know, they may not even be a guide, but you're getting bits and pieces of what this path is. When Pujya Swami Tejomayananda had asked us, how does one become a bhakta? His response was, live with them. If you live with bhaktas, it's inevitable that you will be a bhakta also. That's what we're doing together, correct? We've been living together in the morning, living together in the evening. I don't know what happens during the day with all of you. I still think about you. Te api atitaranti. They also cross over. They also cross over what they're being held back by. And I'll explain that shortly. I was sharing with you in the previous verse that karma brings purity, jnana brings clarity, and dhyana brings identity. Another way to relate to this, someone may not know karma, jnana, dhyana, but suppose they know seva. Seva brings purity, correct? Sadhana brings clarity. So you have seva, sadhana, and then you have seva again. That brings identity with society, with humanity. So again, one may be ajanataha. I don't know karma, jnana, dhyana, but I do know seva, which leads to sadhana, which leads to seva. One will experience the same evolution. What is it that they cross over? Mrityu, death. And there's so much associated with this. We'll describe this as vices. There's fear of death, there's anger towards death, and so on. Shruti parayanaha. What is critical to go through this experience is what you have heard from the one who knows that you feel this is most important. That you have faith that what is being shared is for your evolution. There's a really powerful quote in Kathopanishad, which I'm going to read to you right now. Mrityoho samrityum apnoti ya iha naneva pashyati. The one who doesn't follow a path or doesn't follow one who is following the path, then they continue to get stuck in manyness. Leave alone getting to two-ness and oneness. They're stuck in manyness. What is their experience? They simply die to die again. That is an intense thought, that one moves from death to death. So if you don't know these paths, fine. But make sure that you're listening with value and faith to the one who is following a paths, all paths. From inspiration to application, your application was to listen to music yesterday. How many of you did? Listen to From a Distance by Bette Midler. You've heard this song so many times, correct? But now you offered more attention. Why I wanted you to listen to this is when we are less evolved seekers, we feel that God is watching us from a distance. As we evolve, we feel that God is watching us not from a distance, but close by. And what is enlightenment? When God doesn't need to watch me, aham brahmasmi, I am God, as all are. Your application for this morning is to continue to listen to music, to Bette Midler. This time the song is Wind Beneath My Wings. Listen to Wind Beneath My Wings. What an awesome experience of Bhagavad Gita, correct? That we get to do this together. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.